was good timing, though. I noticed the live thing. Like, okay. Oh, I guess I'm supposed to do the thing this week, aren't I?
Yes.
Haha, I typed androidpolice.com/poodcast.
We should call it the Poodcast.
Which is arguably more accurate.
I was going to say, most weeks that is more accurate.
It's the Poodcast.
I'd actually call it the Poodcast.
Welcome to the Android Police Poodcast.
Pood. Who pood?
Poodcast. Yo, my homie. You got that embed code? Oh, you already gave it.
I do, my dog.
I getting it.
So just at random times, my 2.5-year-old just breaks off with a jiggy jar jar do, dirty dirty dur.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, someone's been watching Carl Papa.
My 11-year-old teaches him all these things.
Your 11-year-old be all Carl Papa.
Carl Papa. My 11-year-old be all Carl Papa.
There are worse things that your 11-year-old could be all.
Well, let's hope not.
I mean,
there are worse things.
On the list of things to be, Carl Papa is not that bad. A jiggy jar jar do. Dirty dur.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Carl Papa.
Carl Papa, man.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Bad lip reading of Carl Grimes from
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
That explains it.
Oh yeah, that's what I need.
Well, it is 8:31.
I need my spectacles on.
Not one person has said anything in the chat room.
Is there any one person in the chat room?
There are 14 persons in the chat room.
What up,
Are any of you real people?
Are any of you not bots?
I decided I'd ask that question in the chat room. We'll see what they say.
They're going to say that they are bots.
Cody is a real person. Matt's a real person. Bob's a real person.
Mm-hmm. What about Cajun flavored Bob?
Cajun flavored Bob?
What it do with a Cajun flavored Bob?
I don't know.
What are you going to do with those last two topics there?
Well, I could take one and you could take one.
Let's just get rid of this one. Hold on. We're just going to get rid of this one.
Which one?
The one he's taken off of there.
Oh, see, I wanted to get rid of the other one, so maybe we should get rid of it too.
Yeah, the Sprint one is less interesting.
I'll take that one. I didn't read it, but I'll give it a look-see real quickly.
It's easy. Easy.
So you said don't play the second voicemail, just mention that, or you can mention what he said, right?
Yeah. Don't play the second voicemail.
All right, we ready to go, yo?
Yes, I believe so.
All right, let me hit the record. That's in, and we're off.
Welcome to the Android Police Podcast, your weekly audio source for all things Android. It is Friday, November 28th, 2014. I'm your host, Matthew Smith.
I'm Cameron Summerson.
I'm Ryan Whitmore.
And my name is Bob Severance. Welcome to the show. Happy Turkey Display Day.
Turkey Display Day?
Well, it's not Turkey Day.
I ate a turkey. Did you just look at it, or what?
It might be leftover Turkey Day for some, or if you're in the States, it might be, I don't care about you stupid Americans and your turkey holiday day.
Right.
Yes, it was Thursday.
That was Thursday, and today it is not Thursday.
Today is Black Friday, and we're not going to talk about Black Friday sales because, well, it's too late to get any out of them, so...
Well,
We're just
it's
not gonna talk
not
about it.
late if you're trying to get in on Black Friday sales for 2015. You probably still have some time.
Yes, but we don't know what those sales are, so we're not going to talk about those either.
Oh, okay.
What we are going to talk about is Code Google. All right, so we're starting off with some bad news, which is what makes that so appropriate. Specifically for Nexus 6 pre-orderers through AT&T.
We could just shorten that, Matt, and make it pre-orderers.
Pre-orderers?
Yeah.
Those of you who may or may not have pre-ordered, you may have gotten it the day it came out, but needless to say, the early adopters of the Nexus 6 from AT&T are starting to run into some pretty serious issues. And Cam, I think you saw at least the resemblance of one on yours as well, right?
Okay, so yes, but mine is not that bad, and I haven't heard anyone else who has the same issue as mine. I'll talk about that in a second. But apparently on some of the early Nexus 6 orders, basically the phone wouldn't even boot up. It would boot up to some, like a black screen, and nothing would really work, so it had to be exchanged. Basically, this is an issue. If you had it, you already know it, and you've probably already started the exchange process, and maybe have already gotten, the replacement. But if your phone works normally, or at least attempts to work normally, then you probably don't have this particular glitch. It may or may not have been caused by AT&T specific garbage on the phone. I don't know, that's kind of a gray area.
I mean, Motorola was at least willing to take the bullet on this. I don't know if that's entirely the case, but I mean, it seems like some people were able to actually get these phones to boot up, but they booted into some sort of Android 4.4 test environment or something. So
yeah, it was something weird.
Something wonky. Yeah.
It was some unexplainable thing that we don't even know. No, mine is just doing this stupid thing where it sounds the AT&T jingle, but it doesn't actually reboot, and then the phone is completely unresponsive until you hold the power button for 10 seconds, and then it actually reboots. It does it at least once a day, and it's very infuriating, and as soon as I get time, I'm going to exchange it.
Yeah,
I think your phone actually does that because it doesn't feel you're annoyed enough about the fact that there's an AT&T jingle in the first place.
Yeah, that jingle, I swear, it just drives me absolutely insane. As soon as I get the replacement unit and make sure everything works well, I'm completely deleting the OEM partition so I can get rid of that crap. No joke. From the very first time that I turned this phone on, that jingle has made my 2-year-old cry. And every time he hears it, he does. Every time he hears it, he pouts and he cries every single time. Seriously, it makes me mad. It makes me. I don't really blame the phone, but it makes me want to go find somebody at AT&T and punch them in the face for making my kid cry.
Why do you hate children?
I mean, seriously, it does. It makes every time, and that's one of the things that makes me so mad about that stupid random reboot crap, because it'll just be sitting on my desk and make this jingle, and then the next thing I know, I have an upset 2-year-old because my phone made the stupid jingle.
Yeah, well, I don't know why carriers always insist on having sounds when a phone starts up. That's stupid.
It's obnoxious. It is so obnoxious. I hate it. I do. I hate it so much.
Yes.
I guess it could be for the visually impaired, so they actually know that their phone did reboot. But in this case, it wouldn't have.
Nah.
It would fake the visually impaired out.
I know, imagine, and then they'd pick up their phone and they'd be
Why do you hate visually impaired people?
They would be like, okay, Google, and then the phone wouldn't do anything. Oh, there, I just activated my phone. And
you know what's funny is if you turn on the OK Google Everywhere thing now I'm doing it. If you turn that on the Nexus 6 and you have a Wear device connected to it, it doesn't turn off the voice thing like it's supposed to. it's weird because on most phones, like if you have it on and you're looking at the screen and you have a Wear device awake, the little microphone icon grays out so that you don't talk to the phone, you talk to your watch. But the Nexus 6, when it's asleep, it just always responds, even if your watch is awake. So I actually turned that off on my phone right now, just to see if maybe when the new version of Wear comes out, if that fixes it. But it's weird. But the Nexus 6 is really, really fast and responsive with the voice command stuff, I've noticed.
The Nexus 6 is, but I have a weird issue with mine where if the display is off, when I give the hot word, it will make the sound like it's going to start listening, but then it immediately stops listening, and even if I'm talking to my watch, it'll just spin, and it never gets my voice command. I have to literally touch my phone and turn the display on before it works. And maybe it has something to do with the listening all the time. I'm actually going to disable
I've noticed my watch doing that every now and then. It seems to go through eventually. I mean, sometimes it happens right away, and sometimes it takes a few seconds. It's very odd.
Cam, are you getting used to the size of it?
I am actually. I don't hate the size nearly as much as I did. The first 3 days, I absolutely hated the phone, and I convinced myself I was going to give it through today to see if I liked it or if I got used to it or whatever. And I've learned to hold it in different ways that lets me do what I want to do with one hand when I'm if my other hand is occupied, or I'm walking or carrying something or whatever.
That's what she said.
And I do. I love the screen. I have gotten used to the size. I wouldn't hate life if it were smaller. I would definitely appreciate it a little bit more. But I don't hate it as much as I did 5 days ago. That said, I'm pretty convinced I'm going to keep it. It's kind of, I don't know, I'm like 75% sure I'm going to keep it, but 25% of me still says take it back and get the Moto X Pure Edition. But I think I'm just going to stick with the N6.
Yeah, I mean, you'll probably be happy you have it later in 2015 when Google releases another developer preview.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. I think ultimately, I tried to take everything into consideration, and one of the nails in the coffin for me, the 2015 Moto X doesn't have wireless charging, right?
No, it does not, and that is very sad for me.
And that was one of the big things for me because I have a wireless charger on my bedside table and in the car, and I use them both. Like when I need to charge, that's what I use.
Yeah, so, and oddly though, the wireless charger that Google released last year for the Nexus 5 does not work with the Nexus 6.
Wow, I'm still using the View or VU.
Yeah, I have one of those too, and that works really well. It's
love
weird
that.
though. The whatever Google did with the magnet that holds the Nexus 5 onto that charger messes with a lot of devices because it doesn't work on the G3 either.
Interesting. Yes. But
Yeah, I've been meaning to. I'm gonna like reinstall Lollipop like from scratch on my Nexus 5 and go back to it for like 2 or 3 days just to see how I feel about going to a smaller phone. Because when I pick it up now, it feels absolutely tiny since I've been using the Nexus 6 for a week.
Yeah, I picked up the Nexus 5 the other day, and I was like, I can't even believe like when I got this phone, I was like, this was a somewhat big phone.
Yeah.
And I remember like buying the Galaxy Nexus however many years ago that was, and thinking, oh my God, this 4.7-inch screen is gigantic. And now we've moved so far beyond that.
I wouldn't be surprised though, honestly, if the 4.7-inch display on the Galaxy Nexus. I think that phone was actually bigger than the Nexus 5 though, wasn't it?
I have one in my closet. I could grab it and compare the two. I think it was too, honestly. I mean, it was kind of a big phone for 4.7-inch display. I mean, we've just come so far as efficient use of space on smartphones. I mean, I compared my Nexus 6 to an iPhone 6 Plus the other day, and I mean, the iPhone 6 Plus is literally the same size. I mean, it's a little narrower, so the Nexus 6 is wider, but I mean, there's so much more display on the Nexus 6 than the stupid iPhone. I guess it's not really that stupid, but I don't really... The home button is the stupid part to me, but whatever.
Yeah, you remember it's years ago at this point, but Dell released that really weird 5-inch Android phone. I think it was the Streak 5 or something.
I do.
And it was humongous, mainly because the bezels were like an inch wide.
I remember when I saw that phone in I was at a concert at Trees in Dallas, and I saw that phone. I was like, oh my God, is that a Streak 5? And it was like, I mean, it was seriously like somebody was holding like that Kindle, the Kindle Fire HD 5 that or HD 6 that we reviewed like a couple of weeks ago. That's what it looked like. I mean, it was just massive. I also thought the Nexus 6 was going to be stupid, like talking on it, but it doesn't really bother me that much. The size is fine for that.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, we say that everything's come a long way since then, but the HTC Max is still, I mean, it's still like Dell Streak size. It's huge.
I still think that HTC wishes that phone didn't exist. I mean, they tried their hand at the Phablet thing, and I hate the word Phablet, by the way. I'm kind of pissed at myself that I just said it, but I don't know.
Well, Verizon offered them a sum of money to create a phablet of some sort, and they're like, well, we do need the money.
Well, we are broke as shit.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about some of the hidden or non-existent features of the Nexus 6 that can be re-enabled. Starting off with there's an LED in there, Ryan, and it's first of all, if there's an LED in there and you can't use it without like some shenanigans, what is the point of that?
It is unclear why it's there, but yeah. So behind the top earpiece is a tricolor LED. Now, the 2014 Moto X also had an LED, but I think it was just green, and it didn't work if the phone was not plugged in. But with root access, you're able to harness the power of the LED on the Nexus 6 to use it for notifications, which is really cool if you're one of those people who is super obsessed with having LED notifications. I kind of feel like I'm over that. Even on phones that have an LED, I don't really pay attention to it that much. And the Nexus 6 sort of relies on the ambient display thing, but if you do want to turn that off to save a little bit of battery life, then you kind of don't know when there's a pending notification on the phone. So, I mean, I get it, but it's kind of a lot of work to go to make it happen. And I don't see Google enabling this as a stock feature at any point. So if you want to do it, you'll have to root and mess around with it.
Well, because of ambient display, it doesn't need it.
I've been meaning to test if there was like a significant difference in battery life turning that off, but I've gotten really used to the phone waking up when I pick it up. I mean, sort of like with the Moto X, you just get used to the fact that you don't have to press the power button every time you pick the phone up. Yeah. I wish the Nexus 6 had the front-facing IR sensors to do the active display stuff, so you could like just wave your hand over the phone and it would wake up. That's one of my favorite things about the Moto X.
Yeah, it's I've gotten used to the active notifications. I really like that. I don't care anything about the LED blah blah blah. I'm not going to go out of my way. I didn't root this phone. I'm not going to root this phone. I don't care about the LED, especially don't care enough to root it. As far as battery life, though, I've been super happy with the battery life on the Nexus 6. I know some of the reviews kind of dogged it, but coming from the Nexus 5, I mean, I take it off the charger in the morning. I do everything that I want to do with it all day long. I never have to charge it in the middle of the day, and that's all I ever want out of a phone.
Yeah, mine has been fine as well. I don't have any particular issues. But I mean, the reviews were all done with the software that was out right before it was available to regular people. So it's gotten, I think, has it gotten 2 updates or 1 update since then? But at any rate, it's different firmware. So yeah, it's different firmware. So who knows? Maybe the battery life wasn't as good.
Mine, I mean, like I use GPS on my phone to track when I ride my bike. And with my Nexus 5, when I would get home from, even if I just rode like 25 miles, when I got back, my phone would be like 70% of the battery would be gone from tracking the ride, and I'd have to put it on charge as soon as I got in. I can't believe how efficient the Nexus 6 is for stuff like that. I mean, I did Thanksgiving Day yesterday. I rode 23 miles, and I lost like 10%. And I was like, wow, that's freaking awesome.
You know, I feel like mentioning this because we're talking about battery life. I got the Droid Turbo the other day for a new work phone. I've had it off the charger now for 1 day, 11 hours, and 24 minutes, and it's at 25%.
I'm not impressed.
I mean, that's okay. I mean, that's good for like a phone. I don't know. It's not like super good for a phone that has like a 3,900 milliamp hour battery.
Well, yeah, but that's that's like with all of the Motorola functionality is enabled on that. So if you turn that off, I bet you it would go.
Yeah, maybe
Because
a little.
it's constantly pinging for a location just because of the Moto, like do stuff when you're driving versus when you're walking stuff at a time. But I was pleased with it. Anyways, so there's another little hidden feature on the Nexus 6, the double tap to wake, which has been present on the Nexus 9 as well as a couple other devices, but it's for some reason just was removed from the Nexus 6 potentially right before launch. But Cam, there's apparently ways we can bring it back, right?
Yeah, so this is a feature on the Nexus 9, and it's a feature that makes a lot of sense on the Nexus 9 because the Nexus 9 doesn't have active display, or ambient display, whatever the hell you want to call it. But to me, it doesn't seem like I would need this on the Nexus 6 for a few reasons. One, it has ambient display, so the display kind of turns on as soon as you pick it up, and boom, you can swipe and it's on. Secondly, the button is right there. So anyway, if you must have it, there are now a couple of apps that can enable it. Your phone must be rooted, of course. So it'll just basically toggles the feature to enable it. And there's a 99-cent app that can do it. And I guess that's sort of just like a donation for, hey, thanks for throwing this together and making it easy for me. There's also a free app also in the Play Store from the same developer. And then there's one in an XDA thread. Also, you can do it manually if that's your thing. If you want to do it like that, there's some links on the site on how to get that done. If you absolutely must have double tap to wake, which I will still never understand why you need that on the Nexus 6. But you know what? If you want it, I'm okay with that.
Now, you know why I sort of understand the desire to have that? If you have the phone just sort of sitting on your desk and you want to just wake it up real quick, you either pick it up or you hit the button. I mean, double tapping the screen would be a little bit easier. I mean, that's kind of the reason that I really love the 2014 Moto X with the approach thing where you just wave at it and it wakes up. I know, it's nice to not have to like find the power button on the side or like pick it up or whatever. But again, like it's not a huge deal. I just understand the desire. Cam's testing.
Well, no, I mean, as soon as I tap mine on the side, since the back is curved, it kind of wobbles and active display turns on. So
really, mine doesn't do that. Wait, hold on. How hard are you tapping? Give me like how many newtons are you applying to the surface of the phone?
I would say at least. I'm guessing on. Is this a unit of measurement that is like if I were dropping a fig newton? How much?
Yes.
Like
how many fig newtons of
I would say probably just one fig newton, maybe two. Is how much in terms of our snack measurements.
What height are you dropping your newtons from?
I would say probably 6 to 8 inches.
Okay. Wow.
I guess
I'm glad you asked that. That's an important part of this what we're doing here.
Maybe that's a hidden feature of the Nexus. The curved back is so you can wake it up easily.
Did you get it to work?
Yeah. Now for whatever reason, the first couple times I did it was like, no, screw you.
Yeah. So that worked. I do use that feature all the time on the Nexus 9 though because it's big.
Yeah. You don't want to have. Yeah. The bigger a device is, the more of a pain it is to find the power button.
Yep. Agreed. Speaking of power buttons, on the Nexus 9.
Oh my goodness.
That segue could not have been more perfectly set up for you, Cam.
Bam. Yeah.
Don't call it out.
So yeah.
Don't call it a comeback.
Yeah. So basically, people may have seen and or heard about the potentially crappy volume and power buttons on the Nexus 9. Apparently, they were basically almost recessed into the chassis, and it made it really kind of a pain in the ass to find them. For a lot of people, because they were just right there and you couldn't really feel them. I don't have that problem on my Nexus 9, but a lot of people were, and maybe, possibly, potentially, HTC has fixed that at this point. A couple of people on Reddit have
shouted out and said, "Hey, I exchanged my Nexus 9, and now look at this." There was one person in particular who took a picture, and you can see in this picture the power button is like flush with the frame, and in the new unit it is very much sticking out. I mean, not annoyingly so, but to the point where you could easily find it. So if you have that problem, maybe look at exchanging your Nexus 9. Like I said, I don't have that issue. Mine doesn't stick out a ton, but it's easy for me to find. Unlike like my Shield tablet, which it's almost recessed just like that. And that is a really annoying thing.
Yeah, my Nexus 9 is pretty good too. Like the power button is fine, and the down part of the volume toggle is fine, and the up part is for some reason slightly more recessed. It's harder to press, but I don't know. I mean, it's not really surprising that HTC would be improving its manufacturing as it goes on. It seems like they were kind of rushed getting the device out. I mean, and this happens with most devices. The second hardware rev usually has a couple little fixes.
Yep, definitely. So with mine, yeah, my volume rocker. I guess the up. Yeah, I have the same issue. Mine is the up is a little more. The volume up is a little more recessed, a little harder to press. But the power button, I don't really change the volume on the tablet all that much. But the
I mess with the volume toggles much less in Lollipop because I just set up the priority mode schedule thing, and we're done.
So it's but yeah, the buttons. I guess the button could be extended out a little bit on mine, but I'm okay with how it is. So yeah, I won't be exchanging mine for any reason because mine doesn't seem to have hardly any of the issues. It doesn't have like the trampoline back like a lot of people are saying. It does have some light bleed, but nothing that I can't tolerate. So overall, I'm pretty happy with mine.
All right, cool. Well, if you are also pleased with your Nexus 9, there's a little bit of an accessory. Actually, it's a big accessory. It's kind of massive, especially in the price tag department. $129 for the Folio keyboard cover for the Nexus 9. It is now officially available on the Play Store, shipping in 1 to 2 business days. Also, for Nexus 6 owners, the stand Folio case, which is the one that has the back that's kind of creased so that you can pivot it and stand it up, much like this Nexus 10 case that I'm holding right here, but on the phone scale size. So it is also available on the Play Store for $40, and it's in stock and shipping immediately.
Cheap.
All right, so starting off with Republic Wireless, which this is probably the first time they have ever let off a segment.
They are hotter than hot,
show.
Matt, right now.
But it's that way specifically because they've got a pretty sweet deal coming up on the new Moto X, right, Ryan?
Yeah, so last year it was a big deal when they announced they were going to have the 2013 Moto X because at the time the phone was still like $550 if you bought it from Motorola, and they were going to sell it for $300. Which was a really good deal, but then a few months later, maybe not so much. But this year, you will soon be able to purchase the 2014 Moto X for, I think, $399. Yes,
What?
so that's $100 less than if you bought the phone through any other retailer. So it will be only usable on Republic Wireless, though. It has low-level changes to make it work with their hybrid Wi-Fi cellular calling thing. It runs on the Sprint network on cellular, which is interesting because Sprint does not have an official Moto X. So I don't know exactly what piece of hardware this is. This is probably something that has more bands than it would require, but has them somehow locked out at the kernel level. There was supposed to be a Sprint Moto X, I think. Like there was a model number at least leaked, but then it just never came out. So this is some sort of mysterious phone, but you'll be able to buy it and use it on Republic Wireless soon, December 10th.
So, any chance that this year's model will have similar fate to last year's, where Republic drops the price and then a couple of months later Motorola drops it?
I don't know. I mean, I assume Motorola is going to probably start lowering the price of the phone for holiday sales. I know they're doing one in a couple days. for pretty cheap. Republic Wireless will probably not be able to afford to do that right away. I mean, they probably had to buy a certain number of them, and they can't lose a huge amount of money on the hardware because their service is actually really cheap.
Yep. All right, so the rest of the hot sheet we are going to dedicate to holiday gift ideas because, well, it's the busiest shopping day of the year for some reason. Although I imagine most of the people listening to the show are probably more of the Cyber Monday crowd. But we wanted to kind of talk about, if you've got somebody on your list that's asking for one of these various things, what device would we recommend you get? And we're going to start off with the standard phone. I've got it split up into phone and the word that Cameron said earlier that I'm not going to repeat to not anger him any further. But so if you're looking for a standard size phone or a larger phone, let's give kind of an example of each. Who wants to start off? Obviously, I think the most likely choice for a larger phone is probably going to be the Nexus 6, but does anybody else have any other options out there that you'd say would be considered a good option for the holidays?
For like a regular size phone, you should probably consider getting a 2014 Moto X. It's 5.2 inches, so most people will be able to use that at least one-handed part of the time. Or if you can find like a good deal on the Nexus 5, I think that's still a perfectly acceptable device.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd buy it from Google Play anymore because Google is very stubborn about lowering prices. I don't know if it's if you should pay full price for it.
It was out of stock on Google Play.
Oh, was it? Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
but I was actually going to say that if you're looking for a good phone on a budget and you don't want to spend over $350, I think it's hard to go wrong with the Nexus 5. There's also that other phone that I can't bring myself to recommend, but it's also that price.
Which other phone? I'm confused.
The OnePlus One.
Oh, that one. I don't think people should buy that.
I don't think people should buy that either, but it is a good price for everything that you get. I can't bring myself to recommend it. But yeah, I mean, my vote, I think you hit the nail on the head. My vote would be for the Nexus 6 if you want something a little smaller, the 2014 Moto X, and if you're on a budget, the Nexus 5.
Yeah, I mean, and there are a lot of Note 4 fans out there. I don't strongly dislike TouchWiz, but I don't really like using it, I guess I would say. And I've noticed that Samsung devices, for whatever reason, they might get really awesome battery life at first, and that's something that people are citing about the Note 4 is that it has noticeably better battery life than the Nexus 6. But things get weird in TouchWiz the longer you have a phone, and sometimes they just start wake locking randomly, and you can't figure it out. I mean, I used a Galaxy S5 for a while, and it was good most of the time, but every now and then it would just go through a couple days where for whatever reason it wouldn't sleep hardly at all, and battery life would just be terrible, and then it would stop doing it. And I could never figure out exactly what was happening.
Your phone was having an anxiety attack.
Yeah, I don't know, something. Yeah,
you probably caused it.
Yeah, I am a stressful person.
All right, so let's talk about tablets, and for the sake of this discussion, we'll say a large tablet is anything over an 8-inch tablet. A small tablet set 8 inches or smaller. So we'll start off with the large tablet. Not really a whole lot of folks out there making large tablets these days, but if somebody was looking for one, what route would you suggest they go?
Nexus 9.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for something larger than 8 inches, 8.9 is larger than 8, so you should get that one. I know there's a weird amount of Nexus 9 hate on the internet. I think most articles we post have at least a few people just complaining about the tablet when I'm pretty certain they've never actually used it and certainly don't own one.
A lot of people hate the aspect ratio, which is I will never understand.
Man, I really like the aspect ratio. I really like 4x3. I mean, unfortunately, I've noticed there are a few apps I've tried to run that mostly games that just freak out and crash. I assume because of the aspect ratio, because they run fine on the Shield on lollipops. So, or it might be the 64-bit thing, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. But at any rate, it's maybe a little bit wonky with some apps, but it's just a much more pleasant aspect ratio. I haven't really had any serious issues with my tablet. I know David got a tablet that apparently is made out of sticks glued together or something, because his seems to always be doing something crazy.
Now,
but yeah, I mean, it's good.
Let's just say for the sake of example, if somebody were to be the type that considers themselves a Nexus 9 or a 4:3 aspect ratio hater, is there a second place vote? Maybe the Galaxy Tab S 10.5.
I would suggest the Galaxy Tab S. It's thin, it's fast, it has a beautiful screen.
You will not see AMOLEDs that size anyplace else. So
it's a distant second, in my opinion, but it's still second.
All right, and smaller tablets, 8 inches and smaller.
Shield tablet.
Yeah, Shield. Yeah, I mean that's exactly 8. But I mean, I guess you could also, if you could find a 2013 Nexus 7 on sale someplace, that's still a reasonable purchase. I mean, you can get those for like $100 sometimes on eBay. So
yeah, still, I definitely agree. It's still just as fast as it was, the day I cracked open the box. That has been, I think, the most consistent tablet I've ever owned. Because I've used it. I mean, I used it for a solid year as my main tablet, basically, and it never slowed down. I never had problems with it. I mean, it just always worked, and I just absolutely love that tablet.
Yeah, and it's a really comfortable sized tablet. I mean, the screen is only an inch bigger than the Nexus 6, I guess, but I mean, it's a good sized device to use. You can hold it in one hand and not feel like you're reaching.
Yeah, it is very nice. Man, I feel like we just went Nexus crazy though. It's like, what do you recommend? Nexus? Just buy the damn Nexus stuff already. If you're looking for something, I don't know. I also really love the new Kindle Fire tablets. I mean, if you're looking for something, if you're looking for something smaller, like very small, like the 6-inch Kindle Fire HD, I absolutely love and highly recommend. The downside is it doesn't have Google Play. If you can live without Google Play, or you're buying it for somebody else who maybe is a little fanatical about Amazon, don't even hesitate to pull the trigger on that. The 6-inch is great.
Yeah, it's on mega sale right now too. So I think it's probably through the weekend. So I don't know. Maybe by the time people listen to this, it won't be on sale anymore. But
and let's face it. If that's the gift you're buying for your mother, she's not going to really care that it doesn't have Play services.
Yeah, I mean that's a good. And then also I get a lot of people, I guess, ask me this mostly because I have kids and I reviewed a ton of kids tablets. People ask me what they would recommend, what I would recommend for their kids. So I have the Kindle Fire HD Kids. I haven't not written the review yet, obviously, but it is. I really like it. I love the bumper. It's basically an HD6 with an additional software layer and a very nice bumper. The price is $50 more, but they have, I think it's a 2-year return warranty policy, no questions asked. If the kid breaks it, you get a new one, which is
huge. Yeah,
that is huge. That is absolutely huge. So my wife, who is very critical of kids tablets, does not like the HD6 or the Kindle HD Kids tablet because she thinks it's too simple and there's not a big enough selection. I don't disagree with that, but at the same time, I still think that it's a great kids tablet. But second to that, I think the Nabi Dream Tab. Well, it's actually not a Nabi, it's a Fuhu Dream Tab, is a pretty decent way to go. It's kind of buggy, but today Fuhu did a thing, I guess it's too late now, but where you could get the Dream Tab for $99. It's normally $250. For $99, it's pretty awesome. But I still think the HD Kids is my top pick for kids tablet right now.
And I was just thinking, to go back to phones for a moment, if you're not a Nexus type person, I still do like the LG G3 quite a bit.
I was going to ask you if you still recommended that. I forgot.
I mean, it's a good phone. I'm not using mine as much right now because it's still on KitKat, and I am a Lollipop elitist now. So
I know
it's hard to go back to that. But I mean, LG software isn't bad. Like, it doesn't annoy me like TouchWiz does. They don't do a lot. They don't do too many, ridiculous things. It's supposed to get Lollipop in the not too distant future. I think they started rolling out in a European country, Poland. Yes, Poland. You have Lollipop on that device. But yeah, so when that happens, I'll probably use it a little bit more. The nice thing about that is because it's been out for a few months and it's subsidized in all the carriers, you can get one for pretty cheap if that's something you're into.
Right. Good deal. I'm gonna skip around a little bit because I think the next obvious place to go is the new market of wearable devices, and I think Ryan, I think you've had just about every Wear device that's ever been released on your wrist at some point. So where would you go if that was your quandary?
If you want what is probably the best overall, that's still the G-Watch R, but that's a $300 watch, and not everybody is willing to pay that much. I mean, I have the Zen watch right now for review, and it's a lot cheaper. It's $200, and it's good. I mean, it's maybe not as good as I was hoping it would be. I mean, you can sort of tell just from the way it feels. It's not quite as well put together as some other devices. Like the buckle's a little bit wiggly, and it doesn't. And I think it's IP55, so it's not quite as durable as other ones. I think that the Sony Smartwatch 3 is actually a reasonably good purchase if you're going to spend some time outside, because you can see the screen really, really well outdoors, which is not the case with most watches. And that's $250. They're selling the G-Watch, the original one, on mega discount. Like, if you just want something that runs Wear to mess around with, like, you can get it for like $100, which is a pretty good deal. But yeah, so best I think is G-Watch R. Maybe get the smartwatch or a G-Watch if you just want something else. The Moto 360 I feel like is too expensive now, because it's $250 for the version with the leather band and $300 for the metal band. And the battery life is fine, but it's just so much less than what you get with all of the other watches out there that you just sort of don't have any room for error. If something goes wonky in Android Wear and it eats up part of the battery, you're pretty much not going to be able to make it through a day with that watch.
So, a couple of questions. One, isn't the Sony smartwatch the first one with a built-in GPS?
Yeah, it has a GPS module. Very few apps use it right now.
Right.
So, but it doesn't have its own mobile data, so it will be able to track your physical location for like exercise apps, but it won't be able to give you any sort of information about it. It's just basically, it'll sync up to your phone the next time you connect it, so you'll have that location data.
So, two, how's the battery life on it?
The Smartwatch 3 is very, very good. It's
Really?
probably the best. It's probably the best of all the watches that I've used, mainly because it's a transflective LCD. So in ambient mode, it doesn't use any backlight, but you can still see it. The more light shines on it, the better you can see it. It's like an old LCD watch like that. So it runs for like 2.5 days, which is pretty good. And then I actually still have it right here, and the core of the watch pops out.
I was going to ask about bands. So they have to be Sony-specific bands.
Yeah,
obviously.
so you have to buy them. Yeah, you have to buy them from Sony.
Is
But I mean,
Sony
it's a
already
nice.
selling additional bands?
I think they have a couple on their website, like 2 or 3. But I mean, it's good. It's a good watch overall. And the buckle, it has the folding clasp,
awesome.
and it works pretty well.
That's kick. I think I may buy one of these. I think the G-Watch is a great starting point, like you've kind of said. That's a great intro to Wear. But I'm ready to graduate from that. And the second you said, my biggest problem is everybody knows I cycle. I like to be able to look at my watch, and I can never see it while I'm on my bike, and it pisses me off so bad. I can feel my phone in my jersey pocket vibrate, and I'll hear it, and I'll be like, oh, what is that? And I'll look at my watch, and I'm trying to see it, and I can't. I have to lift my sunglasses. And
the G-Watch is especially bad for that because it has a pretty dim screen.
And the second you said that this is great for outdoor use, that kind of sold me on it right
you should
there.
look at the review at the top. That first picture, I took that in super bright outdoor light, like direct shining right on the watch, and you can still make it out really well. So
I think you pretty much just sold me on the.
Yeah, I mean it's a good device. I mean the drawback though to the way the screen works is if you're in a dark room, you can't see it in ambient mode because it doesn't have a backlight like that. And then when you turn it on, it looks like a regular LCD more or less.
Cool deal. All right, so what about accessories? Whether it be controllers, headphones, anything you really would hook up to your phone or use in conjunction with your tablet, whatever the case may be. Any recommendations out there?
So if you get a Shield tablet, you absolutely have to get the Shield tablet controller. No question about it, because
And the cover is awesome.
the cover and the controller are both worth the money. The controller is the best I've ever used on Android, and the fact that it's Wi-Fi direct instead of Bluetooth is just amazing.
Yeah.
It's easily, I mean, it just kills all the other controllers that I've ever used.
Yeah, and you can use it wired on a PC too. I wish there was a way to use it wirelessly on a PC. Oh, I would love that so much.
So would I. But I have a cable, a micro USB cable run under my desk, so I can pull it out and use it for different things, and that's how I use it.
I have that too. Yeah, but I mean the Shield controller, I'm trying to yank it out here. The Shield controller, it looks like, you can just tell from the way it looks, it's really solid. It's every bit as nice as a 360 controller.
Yep,
and
definitely.
The thumbsticks are awesome, and yeah, it's a very, very good piece of hardware.
When NVIDIA said that it was console quality, they weren't just using it. They weren't just saying it just to be saying it.
It has a trackpad. That's just really smart. NVIDIA should be very proud of that controller.
That seriously is really smart, because if you're using it in console mode on the TV and there are touch elements that you they learn that, because with Shield controller, with Shield Portable, if you had it in console mode and used a Bluetooth controller and there were touch elements in a game that had actual controls, you were just screwed. And now you have this trackpad, so it's fantastic. Great controller. So if you have Shield tablet, I highly recommend that.
And actually, if you happen to be buying right now, they've got a bundle going on.
You froze.
Yeah, there are. Who would have thought Hangouts issues?
Oh no.
Say it again, Matt.
What?
You froze up during that whole thing. We didn't hear any of it.
Oh, we froze. Okay. I was going to say, if you're listening live, and that's probably a good reason to repeat it, is because if you're listening live, there's actually a pretty good bundle going on the NVIDIA website where you can get the Shield tablet and then basically get the controller and a couple of games at for virtually no extra charge. So.
True.
Yeah, this is true. And now they have Lollipop on all the versions of that. If you want to get the LTE one, you get Lollipop now.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So as far as other accessories, I want to show this. Let me find. I have a couple of them. This here. People who are not watching the show, I feel bad for you. This is the ARQ dock, ARQ dock from 2040 Studios, and I love it. I did a hands-on with it when it was in the early stages, when their Kickstarter project first launched. It has since been completed, and they've actually successfully completed ArcDock version 2.0 on Kickstarter, so you should check that out. But this is one of my favorite accessories. I have one on my desk, and it has these sticky pads on the bottom, so wherever you put it, it can stick. It has a hole in the top, so you can put a micro USB or lightning charger in it and then adjust it according to the height with a couple of set screws. And then it has these little places on the side for little pins that can be used to prop the device up. So anyway, you can use it as a charger. I use it to actually for when I need to use USB access my phone or tablet or whatever. I put it in the dock. I have one just to the left of my screen, and I absolutely love the ARC dock. Highly recommend it. It's brilliantly executed. And ArcDock 2.0, if you want to get in, they're still they met their goal on Kickstarter. I don't know if they're accepting more pre-orders right now, so you may want to wait for that one, because it can handle the Samsung's USB 3 adapter and also the Apple 30-pin and Lightning cables. So it's just killer. Just a killer device a killer little charging dock that I didn't think I would use and like nearly as much as I do until I incorporated it into my workflow, and then I just kind of fell in love with it, and I use it all the time.
Cool. What about you, Ryan? You got anything?
Wireless chargers. If you have a phone that has wireless charging, you should buy like the Tilt View. I think is a really good device.
Also,
Yeah,
the View car charger is
for
very
a long
good.
time. It just never comes down into the price I'm willing to
Yeah,
pay.
it's on sale right now. I mean, I think that it goes through Monday, but I mean, that's like the one that I've had for a couple, like over a year now, and I still use it pretty much every day. It's just a really good
Yep.
device. You don't have to worry like every phone I've ever had that has a wireless charging coil inside works on that just fine, and it charges as fast as any of them.
Yep, totally agree. And I also, like I said, the View car charger is also very good. I really like it, and it does work with the Nexus 6. I know there were some questions about that. Tilt told me that it would. Since I got my Nexus 6, I confirmed that it does work with the Nexus 6. It takes it all the way to the extreme that the arms can go to get it out, and then there's not a whole lot of play there. But you know what? It works, and that's all that really matters.
All right, good deal. So let's move on to other news.
That's the wrong button. Let me start that again. It's time for other news. It's the news other than what we've been talking about already.
All right, so good news for people who like good-looking phones. The FCC has come down with a ruling that your devices may actually look like they were intended to look by their designers originally very, very soon, right, Ryan?
Yeah, so there is a new law that was just signed, the E-Label Act, which says that manufacturers no longer have to put physical markings on the device with all the regulatory approval stuff, the little FCC logo and the stuff that really it makes no sense to a regular person, so I don't know why it's on there in the first place. But that stuff can all just be in software now. So if you go to like the About Phone menu, it'll just have all that stuff in it. Although, I mean, I think a lot of manufacturers have sort of worked out more clever ways to get that stuff on the outside of the device without making it super ugly. Like on the Nexus 6 and the new Moto X, down at the bottom next to the USB port, they have the regulatory markings, which is not nearly as visually offensive. But yeah, so hopefully devices will not be as ugly soon.
Yay!
No.
All right, voicemail.
Hey guys, Brian, listen. So I'm thinking about flashing the 5.0 system to system images to my Nexus 5.
I got the one labeled voicemail. Is that not the right one?
That's supposed to be the right one.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
You guys got to see behind the curtain.
That's never happened before.
And it's ugly, because I'm here. Hi. I press buttons and pull knobs and strings. I don't pull knobs, I just turn them. But I'm...
Gentlemen, I have a question for you on both. You mentioned in the past how...
That's the voicemail that I have in the Dropbox. I just played it directly from Dropbox.
Can you rename it something else so that my stupid program doesn't think it's the same thing? Matthew? Thanks.
There, it's now voicemail from today.
Voicemail from today. Hey, check it out.
Hello, gentlemen. This is Matt. I have a question for you on phones. You've mentioned in the past how there are so many good phone options out there. Well, I'm trying to figure out which one's best for me, and I was wondering what your thoughts were for a particular category. I notice most reviews just take the phone as a whole. I happen to be on T-Mobile, and I like phones that have SD cards. On the other hand, I like a phone like the Moto X that has a more pure Android experience without all the garbage that Samsung puts on it. I also like the idea of getting updates on a more frequent basis. That seems to leave binds because when it comes to phones, it's either you can have this or you can have that. Either you have the SD card with the S5, or you have to wait a while, or you do the Moto X. There's just seems to be no option that has it all. And I was curious to know what your thoughts were, and you wanted a phone with an SD card, which I know you're not. You don't necessarily tend towards. And we're on T-Mobile. What phone would you be looking at, or phones? As always, your thoughts are appreciated. Thank you very much.
And Matt actually left us a second voicemail where he reiterated that, but also said that all-day battery life should be considered a must as well.
Well, I don't think that there's a phone you can buy now that wouldn't get you through a day. I think that even like the Moto X, which catches some heat for having a smallish battery, it's still enough to get through a day. I mean, you get 4 or 5 hours of screen time. But I mean, a no compromises phone. I mean, that means different things to everybody. I mean, if you have to have an SD card and you're not down with Samsung's craziness, I mean, that I guess you could get the G3, which like we were just talking about, I like. It's a good phone. It has an SD card slot. The software is not as janky as TouchWiz. I mean, updates might be, okay. I mean, supposedly LG is working hard on that, but you still have to go through the carrier. If you want updates that aren't going to be hindered by carrier approval, then you have to deal with maybe making a sacrifice on the SD card at least, because the Moto X obviously doesn't have one. Its camera is okay. I mean, it's maybe average, maybe a little above average. The Nexus 6 has a better camera. It has optical image stabilization. It's a lot more expensive. Still no SD card, but you can get a 64 gigabyte version of it. So I mean, I don't know if 32 gigs of total storage is enough for you, or if you need more. I mean, I don't really need that much storage. I mean, I can and do use 16 gigabyte phones sometimes without any major issues, but I don't carry around a lot of music because I'm usually someplace where I have data. So I guess those would be my suggestions.
I have nothing more to add.
Okay.
I mean, that pretty much covers it. The thing is, I have the same issue as far as being super picky and wanting everything in one device. And I'm not just like that with phones and tablets. I'm like that with everything. Everything in my life. The bikes I ride, the guitars I play, everything. I want everything all in one place. And if there's anything I can say, it's that just doesn't happen. It just doesn't. I mean, you have to make sacrifices somewhere. Unless you can build it yourself and turn and do exactly what you want with it, you're going to have to make a compromise. What?
I said I shouted Project Ara.
Yeah, you're going to have to make a compromise somewhere, and it sucks to hear that. But I mean, the sooner you recognize that, I think the better off you'll be. Because do I think the Nexus 6 is perfect? Hell no, it's too big. I mean, I'm getting used to it. And I don't mind it anymore, but I still think it's too big. Do I wish it were smaller? Yes, I wish it were smaller. Am I willing to go to something like a Moto X? Well, not really, because why? I won't have future updates. It doesn't have as good of a camera. These are the sacrifices I'm willing to make to, in order to use a phone that may not be ideal. So that's what you're going to have to do. You just have to figure out where you're willing to bend and go with that. I don't think any of Ryan's suggestions were bad, though. I completely agree with pretty much everything he said.
All right, good deal. Well, for those of you who joined us last week, you may have noticed we sent out a little bit of a shout-out for people to start sending in pictures of hand turkeys in honor of Thanksgiving this week. And I think we're going to just take a minute here to showcase those of you who responded with your fabulous pieces of artwork.
Right. First, we had one that came in from radio station 105.9 WGWE FM. This one, First-Hand Turkey, comes from Austin Hill. Maybe a little bit difficult to see. By the way, there is a nice post to go along with the turkeys that you see. It's available on the Android Police website. But Austin's got his turkey with the headphones on, squawking into the microphone there. So pretty cool. We also got a hand turkey from Christina at NASA. You guys are welcome to comment on these as well as I show them. I'm going to lock the camera to me so that they can see the fine hand turkey-ishness.
Yeah, I like the NASA one. That's good stuff.
It's got several little. All the fingers are like glass helmets, right?
I don't know. I mean, clearly the one with the head is. I don't know. Maybe those are.
The head is, yes.
It's supposed to look like the glove of a spacesuit, I suppose.
Oh, yes. Very nice. And then we have, is this a sun or a planet or what's going on there? Oh, I just flipped back to the other one. Hey, stop it!
I'm gonna go with moon. That's the moon.
That's the moon. Cool. This next one here is pretty fun.
Yeah.
This one comes from Dustin Wan. I'm an android. I have no hands. So apparently Dustin himself is an android, and he drew a turkey, and it's cylindrical.
That's definitely not the android from the Xperia Play commercial where they stitched thumbs onto the android.
Yeah, that was that was creepy. Thanks for reminding me about that.
That was right up there, probably the creepiest android.
And that phone.
It's quite possible that he did not trace his hand at all.
I will say that I very, very much enjoyed this turkey's face.
Yeah.
Like it's little eyes, and you know what? I just really like this little turkey. I kind of want to hug it if I could.
Maybe this is just his thumb, but it's zoomed way in.
Oh, okay. Good.
Or maybe he has a huge thumb.
That's also possible.
I'll go with thumb. You don't want to know where I was going with that. The next one came from Ben. Ben was actually the first one to send us his, but we actually couldn't use it on the site because of the gratuitous skin and hair that's on the turkey.
Yeah, it was inappropriate.
It was inappropriate. We would have had to give the post
an NSFW tag.
Yeah, it's like you can't post inappropriate things on the internet.
The hair.
I mean, how would you even do that?
Actually, it was an oversight on our part. We apologize, Ben. But
I'll add it to the post.
Ryan's gonna add it to the post. We got a nice little pilgrim hat on the turkey, which is nice. This is actually what would have happened if the turkeys won. So it's good.
Wait, the turkeys didn't win?
If the turkeys would have won, they would have eaten the pilgrims and stolen their hats.
I see. I wasn't aware that the. Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna make more stupid turkey jokes. We don't need to do that though.
You're not familiar with the infamous Pilgrim Turkey War?
Yeah, this is what I was gonna bring up. I wasn't aware the first Thanksgiving was such a contentious event.
It was. Actually, that was when turkeys were sentient beings, and now we've kind of bred them down to be their dumb state that they should be in.
That was smart on our part. You can't have sentient birds running around.
That's right.
Flying around.
That's right. Or running. This one came from Sammy. Now this one actually, as soon as I saw it, it was kind of funny that you that you alluded to Tragador in the post, because that was the first thing I saw when
got a big leafy on there on the side. Tragador. Looks really good like that.
Yes.
It would have been cool if he permeated some buildings. That would be awesome.
I want to see Trogdor and Sammy's gangsta chicken of. I want to see him fight.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. I actually think that this character could be a hero in an Android game, and I think that you guys should, an aspiring developer or not aspiring? What's the word I'm looking for?
Up and coming?
No, a developer that wants to put Sammy's work out there should get in touch with Sammy, and make this happen. He's
got the whole character figured out. I mean, he's got the Argyle, the feathers, and Like the shirt even has buttons and they're belt loops. I was very impressed with the belt loops.
He's got chest hair, for crying out loud, which is awesome. I mean, this is
Well thought out for a badass turkey.
the perfect, and I have to admit, this is probably the best traced hand I've ever seen.
It's the perfect turkey. It's the.
I
I'm
mean,
trying to figure out a good way to combine those two words.
Look at those feet. He's got like Bigfoot sloth feet. I mean, it is just wonderful in every way.
His right foot is definitely larger than his left foot, which you have to be aware of because that can result in ingrown toenails.
It's in
if you wear the wrong
perspective.
size
It's
shoe.
in perspective, Matt. It's closer to us.
In that case, he is very wide.
I think he would be a wide turkey. We need to name this guy, I think. I think
He can be our official holiday mascot. We'll have to
I
come up
think
with a
so.
name.
This guy could take the place of the turducken in my heart, I think.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I agree.
In fact, I think that this guy is probably going to be the album art for this week's podcast. If it's okay with Sammy, we'll have to ask him. This next one comes from Sruli Jakobovich. So we got an Android turkey, different lollipops and jelly beans and gingerbreads and Kit Kats on each finger, and pretty cool stuff, man. The coloring kind of reminds me of second grade, so I'm not sure of Shruli's age.
It
So
was
does the handwriting.
it was thrown together very quickly.
But you know what?
But we love it anyway.
I appreciate the thought that went into it. And
I appreciate that he didn't put honeycomb on. The
I
finger.
also appreciate that he didn't put honeycomb. I mean, what's honeycomb? What's
He's
the
smashing
significance?
out the honeycomb with the hand. And finally, one of your favorites of mine. Let me rotate this here. Oh. The Monsanto turkey. Twice the turkey, half the flavor. There's more to gobble gobble. And this hand actually has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 fingers.
Yeah. So either this is a clever send-up of genetically modified foods, or Tom actually has 8 fingers.
It could be possible that Tom has 8 fingers.
Tom, if you have 8 fingers and you're not a guitar player, you make me hate everything.
I think that if
There's
you
so
do
much
have 8
potential there.
fingers, then just the Spider-Man costume would be stellar. Just make, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Truth.
Yes,
Looking at this picture, it's very obvious that he has 4 pinkies.
Well, that's the least useful finger to have multiples of.
I personally need more middle fingers.
Yeah.
I think we all do. We'd like to thank everybody who took the time to draw a little turkey for us. We appreciate it muchly. We'll continue to do these types of things and showcase you guys, because you guys make the Android Police podcast what it is, with your creativity and your comedy. So thank you very much.
All right, well, I think that's going to wrap it up, everybody. Bob, you want to cue the outro, sir?
I'll do it.
We got to end on a high note.
Well, we hope you enjoyed the show. Here's a podcast. Was that high enough for you?
That was perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
That was good. You should do it like that every week.
Only if we end on a high note. Some weeks we will end on a low note.
So, right. In which case, you could use Matt for that. He can.
I think Matt can go pretty low.
Thank you for listening.
Alrighty.
It's good stuff.
Cool stuff. Well, thanks, gents. I think that all in all, it was a good show.
Yeah, not bad for a holiday week. Now I'm gonna go eat leftover turkey.
Yeah, me too. I'm pretty much starving.
Do the thing that I should have been doing for the last 20 minutes. So, see you later.
Yeah. Deuces.